let's hope this has sound. I'm pretty sure it will. So we're going to open a new document in Illustrator, and we want to, we can say print, we'll do inches, and then we want to make a square artboard. So I'm going to say 3 by 3. That's just a random number that I just decided on. So you can make your square whatever you want for your plaid. And I'm going to hit create. So now I have my square artboard. To make things easier on yourself, you're going to go to view, and you're going to make sure that snap to pixel is turned on. And I'm going to turn snap to point off, and smart guides are on. That's going to help you immensely in this. And then, let's see, I'm going to make this a very symmetric plaid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my rulers, and I'm going to drag out a guideline. I'm going to make sure the guideline is unlocked. Guides, unlock guides. So now I can move this around after I've placed it. The other thing this is going to allow me to do is to select the guide. And I'm going to go to my Align panel. I'm going to make sure it says Align to Artboard. And I'm going to click this horizontal align center so I know that my guideline is directly in the center of my artboard. So you can do that with flats, you can do that with anything if you want to align it to the artboard, to a key object, or to your selection. So right now we're going to align to artboard. I'm going to turn that off. Then you can start using your rectangle tool, and you can start drawing some stripes here. And as you can see, the snap to point allows you to just draw directly from edge to edge, which is what you want. You don't want to go over the edge. And give it a no stroke, and then give it a color fill. So you can decide what kind of color you'd like for your plaid. I'm going to go with a blue color, and you can kind of decide. Since I want this to be very symmetrical and even, I want to make sure that this stripe is now centered. So I'm going to direct select, and again I'll go to my Align menu, and again it's aligned to artboard, and I'm just going to align it to the center of the artboard. I'm going to zoom in to make sure that it's directly to the edge here, which it looks pretty good. And now you can just start adding in some different widths, shape, rectangles to start creating your plaid. I'm going to just draw my rectangles first. And then I'll change the color because I want it to be a multicolored plaid. And you can decide how wide you want things. So I'm going to keep mine in the blue family. Maybe I'll do a greenish. So decide what kind of feeling you want your plaid to have. And maybe we'll keep that as it is. Once you've kind of gotten this established, you're going to select just the lines to the right of your first stripe, and then we're going to reflect over this center guideline. So I'm going to my reflect tool, hold down Option, click. We're going to reflect over the vertical, and then I'm going to click Copy, and now you've got both sides. make sure I'm doing everything that I need to do. Okay, so now I'm going to hide this guide because I don't need that anymore. And I'm going to select all of these lines, and I'm going to go to the top and go Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste in Front. With it still selected, so I have my copy sitting on top of my original lines, I'm going to hold Shift and, and rotate this so it's perpendicular. So these vertical lines are your warp lines, and these horizontal lines are your weft lines. And then holding down Shift as you rotate, it's going to click to 45 degrees and 90 degrees. So here we are. And then lastly, we're going to select all of these lines, and in order to be able to see the different shades underneath, I'm going to do the opacity at 50%. And so now you have a nice plaid. Using this type of plaid, it doesn't have any twill lines. Most plaids in real life will have twill lines. So this is definitely good for something that's not super duper accurate, but is going to do the trick if you're trying to fill a flat or something fast. So then you're done there. So now you can, if you want, you can group them together. And then you can drag this into your swatch panel. And it's now filled. You can scale so we can see what it looks like in a smaller scale. I'm going to make sure just Transform Patterns is on, and let's scale it to 30%. To make sure that my repeat is nice and clean, which it looks pretty good. Let's just move this over so we can see better on our white background. So that's your plaid. You could have added a white background to start with to make sure that if it's floating on top of something else, it won't be see-through, because right now this is sheer. So you can do that. I want to show you a few troubleshooting things. So if you make this plaid, actually let me ungroup this, and your plaid has gaps. The reason would probably most likely be is that one of your lines is sticking out a little bit from the rest of the lines. So I'm just going to show you guys real quick what that would look like if that happened. So I've extended these lines. Now I'm going to go in and drag that as my pattern. And let's again move this over so we can see. As you can see, there's gaps in my plaid. And that's because the repeat that the computer is registering is from edge to edge. So if this is the edge, it's registering all this blank space in between this edge. So let's put a guideline there. So it's registering all this space in between the lines. If you happen to have that issue and you're having a hard time getting things lined up, you can, similar to the invisible anchor point on your brush, you can use the rectangular shape builder, and you can drag out a rectangle that's slightly smaller than your repeat with no stroke and no fill. We can, again, to make sure that this is aligned properly, we can align it to the center. And you're going to want to make sure to send this to the back. So right click, arrange, send to back. So it has to be behind everything else. And then you can take and select everything, including that invisible rectangle, and drag that in. And now, as you can see, no more gaps in the plaid. So that invisible rectangle is basically telling the program that everything inside this box is your repeat. So that's an easy way if you're having trouble to define your repeat.
Did you group it before you
No, I did, but you don't have to.